to get a successful attack with a Caro-Kann, the first step is to identify when is it appropriate to do it. Needless to say, you cannot be wearing your favorite Crocs to a wedding. Therefore, I came up with two pretty simple rules to identify those situations. So, to keep it very brief, you are supposed to attack the enemy king in situations with opposite castlings, or when white is going for the fantasy variation, already softening their king, taking away natural square for the knight. So, based on those simple ideas, I've prepared 3 model games for today, so let's not waste any more time and dive right into the action. Welcome back, everybody. We're gonna be Caro-Kanning in Blitz Time Control. I just had 2 consecutive games against cheaters in Rapid, and then I had a good Blitz game, which apparently I forgot to press the record button. So you can kind of get where my mental state is right now, but yeah, we get the Caro, so definitely very exciting, and the opponent plays knight c3. He could push take, he decides to defend. We're gonna destroy the center and play knight f6, trying to get our little Tartak over. I'm not going for bishop f5 lines, I just wanna get into this structure. Priority is to castle, go bishop d6. Do not play bishop e7 because it's gonna be misplaced, and okay, so he plays bishop e3. Yeah, this is what Nepo also played when I played him Title Tuesday. It's meant to do bishop d3, knight e2, I think. And it's quite strong to play knight a6, knight c7, knight d5 against this idea. So let me play that actually. I'm just gonna do best line. I could have played bishop d6 castle as well, which is the easy thing. But yeah, a3. Okay, quick profile scan. Now we can focus on the game. Bishop d6 castle. So he played a3. I guess he wanted to do bishop d3, but knight b4 is annoying, and then knight is coming to d5. That's the idea behind this setup. So I can either play knight d5 or bishop e6. Oh, so he still does queen d2. Yeah, that's surprising if he long castles. I'm gonna do rook e8, yeah, hoping he long castles, and then I get b5 with tempo. This should be very good for us. Now, it's important to not let him push, because then he gets some activity. So I'm gonna do knight d5. And we have hook on a3, a5, b4 idea potentially. Bishop could go to e6. His bishop is like really misplaced. It shouldn't be there in this structure. The bishop normally wants to attack on this diagonal, on b1, h7. But yeah, he'll try to push. But it's really gonna be a bit slow. The question is, do I start a5, b4, or do I start bishop e6? I mean, it cannot really be bad developing your pieces, and he also has to watch out for knight e3. Okay, king b1. Knight e3, isn't this move winning? He's gonna take with the pawn. So, okay, I have a strong knight. I don't want to give it up for no reason. Also, rook b8, b4 now. It's interesting idea because his king is in the way. Rook b8, b4 with some knight c3, potentially. Yeah, I think I played this way. So, I could start a5, b4, but this feels very, very flexible. With idea maybe b4, queen a5. And I'm gonna have already a lot of pieces onto his king while his pawn play is very slow. And if he ever plays like bishop d5, it's like strategic suicide. He never gets an attack without light square bishop. He might never get an attack regardless. And yeah, on c3, stopping b4, I think now we have to do it this way. And I'm gonna get a break in full speed. He's not gonna have any time to sidestep. Yeah, I just push, and if he tries c4, I'm gonna have b3 intermediate move. So notice how perfectly it all mixed up. Yeah, threatening b3. Position is getting open. I mean, this is just a disaster for white. Yeah, having he not blundered the bishop, he would have gotten mated anyways. Quite quickly. So, yeah, what can I say? Tartak over it's pretty underrated. Yeah, I'm just gonna take for the bishop. Oh, come on. Double check, give it to me. Okay, now I can go back or bring the queen, try to play for mate. How do we do it? Take free rook now, what to do? Bishop b4, yeah, queen d5, queen a5. Okay, queen b6, rook b2. What should we play? Let's do queen b6. Threatening to mate and then queen b3. Extra rook. So this move, now I can just go into trading mode. I could try to deflect him. Many things available. Since I'm already up a rook and the piece, I'm just gonna force queens off and yeah, play an endgame, I guess. If this is called playing an endgame. Okay, h6 move. I think I can just focus on actually mating him. It's just we have to play bishop b4 to close the mating net. Yeah, now we do rook a8 and bishop b4. I don't even win his rook. I just close the mating net. So by the way, keep in mind that these guys are 1700 in Blitz, which is like 2000 elo in Rapid. That's kind of the equivalent in strength, because all the GMs are in Blitz, so the Blitz pool is much more competitive, much more difficult to climb. But yeah, everything was pretty clear. We just had great opening. I had to use this little opening subtlety because he went for this interesting setup, but definitely he should have castled short, and I would have gone for rook e8, bishop e6, knight e5. It would have been more of like a solid game, but when he goes opposite castlings, it kind of immediately backfired for him. And as you can see, before it's like -4 already. So, all right, everybody. I think with that being said, we can move on to the following game. All right. Another e4 game. 2150 opponent from the Philippines. Filipinos. And wow, dude, like I'm in deep shock that at like 2100 elo, I see so much second move, knight f3. Either push or take. Yeah, wow, pushing. I'm in shock simply because this is an inferior version of the advanced variation. Now, if you remember the way advance is supposed to start after d4, e5, okay, I recommend to play c5 and then knight c6, and ideally waiting for a spot to open up for bishop g4, because currently the queen takes that away. But yeah, I mean, when he just gives it to us like that, yeah, we can just take it, and black has easy equality. Next is to play e6, c5, knight c6, and perhaps I would go as far to say as these kind of positions are going to be easier to play for black. So knight c3 already yeah, strikes me as a suspicious move. My opponent should be fighting for the center, and when playing d4, you wanna still have option to support your center with c3. Knight c3 are just simply e6, preparing c5, knight c6. If h3, you can always take against the advanced variation, because you're loosening up white's control over the center. So important little concept in advanced variation. The knight is protecting these important pawns usually. So yeah, bishop e2. Yeah, I see no reason why to not play the move that I wanted to, other than, okay, he's probably gonna be discouraged from d4 anymore, and he will play with d3. He's gonna be discouraged because, of course, I can take. Wow, b3 is a pretty creative way of developing your pieces. Currently threatening to take and then win a free pawn. So opponent already having some serious questions to answer. So yeah, I have to come up with some different phrases in my head of thinking, because now whenever I hear the word ask or answer a question, I get Vladimir Kramnik playing in the background. I get his voice, so that is probably not optimal for my long-term mental health. Okay, I'm gonna be taking and then playing a6, asking another question for the bishop. Takes, I'm gonna take with a knight, targeting e5 pawn. And okay, he has to play queen g3, but he's really walking on tightrope, because now, yeah, pretty much he's gonna have to use his pieces to stay passive for the defense of a pawn. So yeah, imagine you cannot leave your house because you're afraid that somebody will rob you and steal a pretzel. So you just want to defend your little pretzel from e5. Okay, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love pretzels. It's just that I would probably not quarantine myself for life for a pretzel, if that makes any sense. Okay. Thinking about this move to pressure him. Also, you know, normally you do bishop e7, short castle, but here it drops the pawn. So because I cannot do bishop e7 like normal, I think I'm gonna go for fianchetto. And if he tries to go for the hook, I'm gonna mate h4 with h5. But yeah, expecting maybe short castle or f4. Now, bishop e7 hope chess is bad because it's misplacing the bishop. I want to do bishop g7 with idea to perhaps play for f6 pawn break. Also, I could consider h5, h4 idea, trying to fix a weak square on g3. G3 is a weak square because he cannot defend it with any other pawns. And once the square is fixed, I could perhaps think of a little journey with the knight. Knight d4, knight f5. Putting pressure on that. Okay, I like this idea. Should I go for it? It's kind of thematic. So it's something that you guys could implement in your games. But bishop g7 castle and f6, it's also very simple. Yeah, nah. Fuck it. Let's play it. h5. This is too good not to play, because if he goes h4 already, he's gonna be too vulnerable on light squares. So he cannot do it. And now I get to fix g3 square, and yeah, as I said, I could develop the bishop, but first I think now we get to maneuver our knight, also gaining time. So probably he's forced to do queen d1 now, yeah, he has to no longer cover e5 pretzel, but he has to use the queen for d1 purpose. Not ideal. Yeah, I'm gonna get knight f5. And then potentially could be making some use of that g3 square. Or simply, if we don't make to get any practical use of it, at least my opponent's pawns have been fixed. So if our opponent has no pawn play, generally means that his position really sucks. So that's good. Okay, so he plays knight e2. He's stopping me from playing. I mean, he's gonna trade. So whenever you have such a nice square like g3, you generally do not want to occupy it with a pawn. So that's why I'm not gonna be playing it. Now, only if, you know, you have some genius combination. Okay, this is important moment because we can definitely slow play. Like bishop e7. Queen somewhere, I guess c7, long castle, rook dg8, and then g5. That's one way of playing it, and perhaps I'm gonna do that. But it's also possible to do g5 right away, because the bishop is still locked in. But yeah, I think I'm gonna slow play. So I mentioned bishop g7. Now, since I already did this h5, h4 business, I think the bishop will be more beneficial on this diagonal, covering the pawn, and the queen can go to c7. I think just in case, you know, we go g5 after takes, the queen is potentially eyeballing e5. So yeah, just preparing to do that. Bring rook dg8 and then g5 break. So notice that we place our pieces and we have pawn break in mind. Very important little concept. In chess, okay, once you don't hang your pieces anymore, the next step is to learn how to play for a pawn break. Once you get good at that, I mean, you're a pretty decent player. Okay, I have a tricky decision right now because if I castle, he's gonna take. And if I take with the rook, perhaps he gets knight c3 attacking my rook. And once I move the rook, he will get knight e4. And if the knight reaches the e4 square, it's a bit annoying because it's targeting my dark squares. So for that, I can play d4. And he never gets access to e4. Because both entry squares, c3, g3, are gonna be covered by my pawns. Although that's a bit of a stupid thing to say, because you can also reach it via d2 or f2, but let's say those squares, I don't really see how the knight will ever reach it. So yeah, d4 is interesting, and his only idea would be to undermine with b4, but perhaps it's too slow. We can just ignore it and castle. Castle rook hg8 and same g5 business. It's only a matter of how quick is his attack after b4. Perhaps I can just go cb and there is no attack. Like that could be a thing. I also considered dc for a while, but shouldn't be. It's not that logical to lose control over the center. Like this is a good pawn fighting for the center. Makes no sense to trade it. I don't want to go for the idea of taking back with the pawn because it potentially gives him some e6. Oh man, I have so many tempting moves. It's tricky to choose. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with my instinct and castle long. d4 is interesting, but it just feels like after cd5, rook d5, knight c3, we can go rook d7. And okay, knight e4 he can play, but after rook hd8, it's gonna be very unpleasant to defend pawn on d3. And my rooks are really powerful. And I think that was pretty crashing. So he plays queen c2 instead. Okay, queen c2. Still, I would love to do that g5 idea. Perhaps I don't even need to do it this way because rook is kind of pointless anyways. Blocked by my own pawn. And now it also has some use, it seems. So I could do rook hg8 with idea g5. And if it takes, rook takes d5, knight c3, still a bit annoying. Perhaps I play d4 now. And I tricked white into making this useless queen c2 move. Because the queen was the plan to use it for the b file to get counterplay. Okay, so d4, it's, I think, a very strong move in this position because our plan is involving a bishop trade. So after g5, bishop takes on g5. Once the bishop trade happens, imagine we get rid of the bishops off the board, then e3 square will be something we can use. Currently, knight e3 is not a great move because bishop eliminates it. And once again, you make same mistake that a premium square gets occupied by a pawn, which is really a waste. Yeah. So I'm gonna go rook g8 and simply g5. And perhaps for my opponent, it's clever after pawn takes, bishop takes. No, actually, pawn takes has to watch out for queen e5 with tempo. Yeah, now he just stepped into this geometric idea for some reason. And my opponent doesn't get counterplay. Yeah, he plays for knight f3, but it's too slow. Yeah, we already knock at his door with g5. I was thinking, okay, potentially he should try to sack exchange somehow, but that gives me queen e5, queen e5 with check and then bishop f4. Have to move the queen. Not clear where, so perhaps I'll just keep it simple, take with the bishop. So we do this trade, I take with the rook, he plays knight f3, and then I have knight e3, maybe already winning. Nice little intermezzo. So yeah, in general, if you wanna take advantage of a square, the best way to do it is to, okay, simple general rule is to try to exchange the piece that's defending it. But also another concept is to exchange the bishop that's fighting for that color complex or complex of squares or square in particular. Like here, just get rid of these bishops, then knight will live on e3 like a king. So already if a knight gets to live on e3 unchallenged, it's better to just give up rook for it. But yeah, it's kind of desperation already. For him, it's clever to do rook exchange and then bishop g5, hoping rook g5, knight f3, and he gets to protect the pawn at least. Yeah, but that's the problem. Yeah, okay, this is good idea for him, but it's not gonna work. Because on bishop g5, I have queen e5 intermezzo. Ah, but then he goes, yeah, he plays maybe knight f3. This is clever. Okay, rook f5. I played this instantly. I could have maybe paused for a bit, but it's natural move. And okay, what do I do now? So he's pressuring me. Natural thing would be to exchange. Rook c1 and then maybe f6. Try to utilize the pin somehow. Rook e1. Rook e8. Yeah, I think that's natural. Bishop e3, it's a bit too sophisticated, perhaps. Oh, maybe actually f6 is very clever. Because if bishop g5, I get to push pawns together. And I'm also stopping his rook from gaining a tempo. So f6, I think it's very smart because I'm threatening to take and then pick up e5. So he doesn't get to protect the pawn anymore like in the bishop trade first. So now, yeah, expecting him to take, I take back. By the way, this may be crazy move, but no, fe is just very stupid because of bishop d8. I have to take. So plan is to go g4 and then win e5, and we also get to open up his king. g4 knight h4 is a bit annoying, although it should be mate. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna go g4. That the king is getting too vulnerable. I could have played it a bit safer and tried to calculate, but no, this feels too good. Knight h4, I'm not sure whether we start with queen h7 or with gh3. Or with rook h8, perhaps. But gh3 cannot be a bad move. gh. Queen h7, queen f2. Okay, he didn't take. Playing a retreating move like this shouldn't really help his cause. Rook e1, rook e8, queen e2. Okay, I think I'm gonna simply take and play rook g3. Not rook g2. Not yet, at least. Rook here. Plan is to double up and there should be some sacrifice ideas with rook h3. Once we get a triple stack. Okay, he attacks the pawn. I don't think we can really save it. I'll have to play quick. Yeah, at this point, okay, it becomes a bit like a gamble. I don't have time on the clock, and okay, when you don't have time, anything can happen. But I have a lot of pieces next to his king, so this is a pretty nice advantage. Okay, queen c6, queen f2 protects. So maybe I play queen g7. Has to do queen f2, like only move. And I can take d3 at least. Threatening this. Yeah, 20 seconds left. Queen f2, rook h3 doesn't work, sadly. Queen f2, I have to go rook d3. But it's completely winning. It's like no question about that. Same on queen f1, I take rook d3, kinda no matter what he plays. Queen e4, I have rook h3 though. King takes mate. Hope he plays queen e4. Knight f4 feels wrong somehow. I don't know, let's just play h3. It's intuitive, good move. Knight h3, I have rook g2. Gh, I should open him up somehow. Yeah, and now this move I wanted. Threatening mate and rook g2, I have queen g2. Nice idea. The knight is pinned. I just pinned his knight with my last move for that reason. He has no checks, so Yeah, threatening that. This is so close to mate. Yeah, I think he's gonna play rook g2 and allow queen g2. Nothing else to do to avoid immediate mate, I guess. Okay, let's see. 12 seconds. His king is open with 12 seconds and some pre-moves. This is still manageable. But I need you guys to keep fingers crossed. He's also doing this thing where he's taking time so that I get to lose my focus. This is so stressful. Never been so stressed in my entire life. What is my opponent doing? 12 seconds. He's keeping me on the edge. Dude, seriously, just make a move. I'm gonna get white hair in my 30s if you keep waiting. He really wants to... he really wants this win. He really wants to flag me. You can feel it. He's gonna play rook g2. If he plays rook g2, I have easy task. I'm more worried if he does something incredibly weird that I haven't calculated. But I'm threatening to mate. What the fuck is that? Okay, I'm just gonna take the knight. He cannot take because of rook g1 and I'm playing extra rook. Okay, I'm gonna take the pawn and then try to trade rooks. Oh, he gave me trade. That's very nice. Very kind of him. Very kind of this gentleman. 7 seconds. Hopefully we're in time to get the moan loaner. The lone moaner. This is how you call the staircase mate. Okay, we're in time to get the moan loaner. Or the lone moaner. I'm too stressed to get it correct. And it's important that I do everything with check, so no stalemate. Okay, nice. Nice. Well, yeah, I mean, still surprising that such high elo players give us such big advantage in the Caro in the opening. Okay, guys, after such brutal attack, it's time for a capybara break. Welcome back, gentlemen. As it seems, we are facing one of the highest rated players of the current speedrun. And the highest rated player of the current speedrun seems to be playing the fantasy. Honestly, that's pretty wild. Okay, I'm gonna give him the secret sauce. I'm still gonna be giving him the secret sauce. Let's see if we can surprise a strong player with Twisted Fantasy still. Okay, there are two scenarios. He either is well prepared and will be tricky game, or he never seen this idea and will lose immediately. So it's one of the two. Let's start with the queen. Still debate. Could also start with the bishop. And now important move for him to play knight c3. If he plays knight c3, it's a sign that he clearly knows what to do. Oh. It was at this moment he knew. He fucked up. Okay, now the point is to go knight a4 for my opponent. It's still, he could go wrong. He can blunder with knight e2 and get mated. Bishop f2 check and then queen e3. But yeah, no, knight a4, it's clearly the point, and then I have to play check. The line goes c3, I take knight on g1, he takes with the rook. Yeah. Okay, just for a second, not actually an NM. Okay. Boop. That was a weird take. I just hovered the bishop and his thing was still on the screen. That was pretty dangerous. And okay, this is one of the starting positions for the variation. Many moves. Bishop f4. Pawn f4. Just to protect. Queen d4, perhaps also a move if I recall correctly. So let's see. Gonna be okay. According to the computer, this is slightly better for white. In fact, I recommend this position in a long time ago. My first chessable course, or one of the first or the second. I have some repertoires on 1e4 where I recommend the fantasy for white, and yeah, I haven't really reviewed those lines for white in a while. For black either, but especially for white. But knight f4, from what I remember, it's the most natural move, but not the best. And yeah, from my experience of playing this variation in online chess, it's generally a bit easier to play as black because you know where to castle. And white has a bit of an odd knight, which they'll have to kind of bring back in the game with b4, knight c5. But then once you play b4, it's a question of, okay, how are you going to find a safe place for the king? Not going to be easy. So I have only one square on c7. And then uncastling, rook could potentially go to d8. But playing a bit of a risky line, like there are definitely more sound ways of dealing with this fantasy variation. It's just that yeah, if you're a beginner like 1000 elo, this move is like such a crusher. It's also playable in high elo but inferior, and I still keep you know, keeping up the flag, representing my own line. It's not my own line, but it's the line I recommend in the course. So yeah, knight c5 he plays. So I'm thinking to just gambit that pawn because there doesn't seem to be a convenient way in defending. Like castle. And after knight takes on e4. What to play? Maybe rook d8. So tempo moves come to mind. Bishop f5 comes to mind. Bishop f5, the problem is that it's kind of inviting knight d6 with a tempo. Could also do a5. Try to loosen up that pawn. a5 takes, and then knight d5 could be with tempo, but I have to watch out for queen d6. So queen d6 being such an annoying move offering queen trade, I think rook d8 should be prioritized to stop that idea. And I need to create some counterplay because if I give him time to play g4, g5, knight f6, perhaps he can hurt me. Although I take and play knight g6, it's actually not such a big deal. Or at least, yeah, I like to encourage myself with that. Knight d6. I wasn't thinking this to be such a strong move because of knight f5. Point is, it looks like we're winning back the pawn. And if we're winning back the pawn, then my opponent has no reason to be so optimistic about his position anymore. Yeah, knight on d6 is a strong knight, but he clearly cannot back it up. And my opponent is not going to have a safe square for the king. We should have, yeah. We should normally be in the driver's seat. However, there's going to be an interesting decision to be made. Shall we trade queens or not? What do you guys think? Because after knight takes d6, pawn takes d6, we will have a choice. Take with a queen or with a rook. And yeah, there is a pretty simple way, I think, to take this decision, considering the fact that his king cannot castle, and castling long also doesn't seem to be so safe after you push your pawns. Yeah, keeping queens should definitely be to our advantage because his king is weaker than our king. So yeah, I'm just gonna take on d6 now. And keep queens like I promised. So keeping queens on the board and then maybe developing with tempo. Yeah, bishop e6. Yeah, queen f3, I'm gonna do tempo development. No need to do random checks. Just develop your pieces. And hitting his bishop, and if he takes, I take with the rook, keeping up the tempo. Yeah, I was a bit behind in development, but I'm gonna really catch up soon. Somehow. Bishop c4 felt like a bit unnecessary. Yeah, maybe he should try to keep or something. Yeah, taking just feels like it's giving me easy play. I have a slightly odd rook on d6, so gotta be careful for f5, bishop f4, but I think I should be okay. Bishop d3, maybe queen d7 is strong, pressuring the bishop and threatening bishop g4 with rook d1 ideas. Yeah, this is definitely backfiring for my opponent. The fantasy is a good opening objectively, but yeah, there are plenty of moments where you need to be very precise. Otherwise, the position can be difficult to play. Okay, I'm running out of clever moves. Queen b6, he simply goes bishop e3. And if I go knight d7, he seems to be wanting f5 and then bishop f4. Ah, but the problem is for him, after knight d7, f5, maybe I have strong move knight e5. Because if I move the rook, then he gets tempo. Okay, the question is knight e5 working in that position? It should be working, I have a feeling, because he's underdeveloped, like his bishop is still on c1. Let's say queen g3, but then rook f6, yeah. No, okay, this should be good. f5, very important move. If I just retreat and I give him time for bishop f4, I feel like he's perhaps okay. Although maybe he isn't. I don't know. Okay, I need to think. So f5, yeah, it really feels like this should be a good move. Oh, bishop e3. No, bishop e3 doesn't feel right. Bishop e3, I think we can bring rook. And then after rook e1, his pieces are kind of really tied down. I need to think here. Also, it's not clear what he's gonna do to simple idea knight f6, knight e4 check. Like, where is he hiding the king? Because knight f6, say you play rook e1, knight e4, you go king g1, yeah, that's the ideal way to hide. I can at the very least snack on c3. Is there anything quicker, better, faster, or perhaps stronger? I don't know, guys. I'm just asking questions. This move doesn't really make sense. It's hope chess wanting him to take, but he doesn't have to. Yeah, knight f6 feels most precise. Just simply going for the fork, winning a pawn on c3. Okay, I would like to get more out of this position, but perhaps, yeah, at the end of the day, a pawn is a pawn. I'd rather secure the pawn than go for some imaginary attack. Knight e4 takes on c3. Yeah, he really has to play rook g e1 in my opinion. Because playing this move, hoping for some perhaps still ideas to push the pawns, it's simply gonna open up his king. His king is gonna be much more vulnerable. He should try to hide this way, I think. This is too risky, I feel like. Not to mention, yeah, just simple knight e4, knight c3 is very unpleasant. Oh yeah, his nickname is National Master JV. So he's probably a National Master. So this is high elo chess, guys. You should be, yeah, watching carefully. Two geniuses of human beings are playing chess right now. Everybody should be taking notes, okay? In case you guys thought this is a shit show all the way. No, actually, two very high-class minds are playing right now. So just letting you know. Okay, rook e1. I want to do queen e7 to really increase the pressure. The issue is that there is bishop c5 targeting the queen. And I'm struggling to find the move because knight e4 check, he has rook e4 intermezzo. So maybe I should start knight e4 and then knight c3. So let's calculate. Knight e4, king g2. Knight c3 has bishop d2, perhaps only move to unpin. Yeah, I would really like to make that work somehow. Don't see a way. Right, okay, I feel it. There should be something very juicy here. Knight e4, king g2, though taking is... It's like we're not fulfilling our achievements. What do we play? Time is ticking. Time. Okay, so what is his threat? Let's try to think prophylactic. Maybe that's the way to solve this. So threat is... maybe this move. Maybe that move. Okay. Can we stop any of those while making a semi-reasonable move? Okay, bishop d2 is... it can't be a threat because of knight e4. So I'm just spitting nonsense. But bishop d4, how about that? Okay, maybe I play b6 here. With idea bishop d4, I give check and then I push pawn to c5. But then he takes and plays bishop e5. Nah, okay, we have to cash in. I'm sorry. I would be ludicrous not to take the free pawn when I have to. When is the last time you guys know I declined the free pawn? Free pawns are like cookies, but for nerds. So, I'm gonna do rook e4. And bishop f4, targeting my knight. I guess I was supposed to calculate that in advance. Yeah, but I should have queen e7. And queen c3, I'm winning rook. And he has to play rook e4 and I have at the very least queen e4. So yeah, queen e7 I think I have to play. Safe move. And rook e4, taking with a knight is probably inferior because I'm letting him to pin me, rook e1. Although that allows queen b4. Another snack for nerds. What to do? I could also just go for the queen trade. If you guys never seen me reject a free pawn, you most certainly never seen me reject a queen trade while being up a pawn. So, yeah, if you ever see me do that, it's probably I'm having a midlife crisis or something. I don't know how is that called. You guys get it. You always understand me better than I do myself. So, queen e7. You certainly understand me better than my opponent seems to understand me during this game. He hasn't seemed to be picking up on most of these ideas. Okay, can't really blame him though. Fantasy, it's not easy to play if you don't know it move by move. King f3, so if I take, then rook e1 is annoying. Yeah, not sure if it's so healthy to snack on so many pawns, but it's certainly not healthy to blunder skewers. What am I doing? This is so dumb of me. How do I get out of this situation? Rook c4, rook c1. Oh man. Did I fuck this up? Oh, I have knight e4. That's so lucky of me. Oh, that's so lucky of me. Knight e4. Right into the cookie jar. Take on c4. Take on c4, baby. We also force more trades. Rook d1, I have rook d4. We're chilling. Yes. Call an ambulance, but for my opponent. We're chilling. Let's go trade. Nice, 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 nice. Not resigning. Oh, can I do this move? That would be really cocky. He's gonna play king d3. He plays king d3 and then what? What's the smart play after? So I have only a minute left. I shouldn't... I should be careful not to do some stupid things. Okay, I could just play b6 literally. Okay, I'm gonna play b6 and I'm gonna play up 3 pawns. No need to be a main character here. Okay, so he wants that. Dude, I literally have 100 extra pawns. Okay, I guess I'm gonna make a luft, or I can also play king f8. Thinking f8 is a very manly move. I'm not gonna hide like a coward. I'm gonna confront him in the center. Yeah, king e7. Okay, we still want to play with alpha chess technique. Now push the pawns. His rook is getting no infiltration. I'm gonna block the check. Then I'm gonna push the other boys. Okay. Okay. Push. a4. Push. Bring my king. Activate further. Okay, let's fix his pawn just in case. Push. 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 I have one word. I know only one word. I'm an NPC. Push. Until he resigns. Okay, nice. Wow, that was it kind of played out in my favor, not gonna lie. Like at the end, I really blundered that idea, but got 93. Just for the new boys watching, if you don't know the main trap of the fantasy, point is below 1500, everybody falls for this trick. Yeah, after takes, you attack the knight. If knight h3, you take it. And if knight e2, you have this very funny little mate. And then queen e3 is literally a checkmate. So if your opponent knows what he's doing, he plays knight c3, which my opponent did. But yeah, the upcoming positions are interesting to play. So definitely, okay, white should be better, but it leads to interesting play because it's not easy to find shelter for the king. So thanks everybody for watching all the way till the end. Now, remember that attacking the enemy king is only about 20 or 30% in the Caro-Kann. In the vast majority of the cases, it all comes down to attacking on the queen side. So yeah, I have this video explaining it. Hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you around on the channel. Have a good one.